Do you know what human rights are? Human rights are the rights that we all have for being humans.
Why do we have rights? Because we have dignity. We are all equal and have the same rights. For example, some may be better at sports, but everyone is equal because we have dignity. What rights do we all have? The right to life. Like we have the right to be born. Right to have a family. We could have aunts, brothers, sisters, dads, and moms.
We have the right to express our opinions. We have the right to respect others. And we have the right to respect our teachers like our fathers and our mothers. And we have the the right to play. We can play soccer or football. We can play hide and seek or anything that you want to play. We can play sports or frisbee or anything that we want to do. You need to be loyalty and respectful. And you need to like going to class. Or you have the right to go to school. And you can take a bus or you can walk. You can do anything else in your class, but you need to learn and respect your teachers. You may do all kinds of things, but you need to learn and study. That makes the world a better place.
Right to health, right to go to the doctor, the hospital, and receive services. If you are not feeling well, you have the right to go see a doctor. Do you know who human rights defenders are?
Human rights defenders are those who defend human rights. Human rights defenders don't have to have cape. They're ordinary people like you and me. For example, Nelson Mandela. He was a human rights defender. Now we're going to talk about Nelson Mandela that spent 27 years in jail.
I'm Gazelle. Welcome to Zootopia.
Hey, Mr. Rose, do you know anything about Nelson Mandela?
Of course I know something about Nelson Mandela. He was the president of South Africa. Why do you ask?
Because I have to do a report on Nelson Mandela, and I really don't know much about him. Can you help me out?
I sure can. Well, for starters, did you know that Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison?
27 years in prison? Why, Mr. Rose?
Nelson Mandela was a leader in the African National Congress, and in South Africa they were fighting against apartheid.
What is apartheid?
Apartheid was a way of not giving people who were non-white equal rights in South Africa. They used laws to keep people separated based on race. Nelson Mandela didn't like that.
I still don't understand why he spent 27 years in prison.
Well, at this point in Nelson's life, he was standing up against apartheid and what the government was doing. And they told him he couldn't talk to a lot of people or travel around to talk to them. But Nelson didn't listen, and he ended up getting thrown in jail because the government said he didn't listen. Then, later on, they brought him back on trial for working with other people to overthrow the government. And in 1964, he was found guilty and given life in prison.
So how did he go from being in prison to the president of South Africa?
After spending so many years in prison, Nelson Mandela was seen around the world as someone who stood up against apartheid. After many people spoke out against him being in prison and apartheid, he was finally released in 1990.
So when did he become president?
Nelson Mandela became president of South Africa in 1994, once all the people who were citizens in South Africa were allowed to vote in the election.
That is so cool, Mr. Rose.
If you think that is cool, not only did he become the president of South Africa, but Nelson Mandela was also awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow, Nelson Mandela did a lot of big things in his life.
That is right. So remember, as a young man, when you grow up, you can be anything you want to be and be a leader too, and make sure you stand up against unfair treatment.
Hi, I'm Isabella, and this is Malala. We're talking about her from Pakistan, and she got shown the IB. She really want to go to school. She really want to go to school. That's not really fair, isn't it?
Some people call me the girl who was shot by the Taliban, and some the girl who fought for her rights.
Malala Yousafzai, born in Mingora, Pakistan, raised by parents that were anything but ordinary.
Thank you to my father for not clipping my wings.
As a courageous advocate for the education of girls,
I'm here to stand up for their rights.
her life was threatened.
The Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed.
The attempt on her life sparked an international outcry of support. At age 17, she became the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize laureate.
One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world.
Next, we are going to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. He was a civil rights activist, and he was famous for the I Have a Dream speech.
Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
Next is Mother Teresa from Calcutta. She was a Catholic nun that gave everything away to help the poor.
The love of a mother is like no other. I remember spending time with my mom. It didn't matter if I was being bad or being good. She still loved me the same. She was there to praise me when I was good and correct me when I was bad. I can also say the same thing about the women in the neighborhood. They knew my mom and they knew me. So whenever me and my friends were running around, they would make sure that we were all okay. Just thinking about how important they were in my life makes me think of another great woman in history named Mother Teresa. Have you ever heard of her before? Well, Mother Teresa was a nun who spent her entire life helping people who were in need. When looking in history books, Mother Teresa is known as a great humanitarian. Growing up through her life wasn't easy because her father died when she was 8. She was left with her mother to raise her and show her how to be a giving woman. Growing up, she went to public school. It was there where she got involved with a group that did mission trips around the world to spread their faith that they believed in. Many say Mother Teresa's love of faith began as a child and it only grew from there. This was because she knew at a young age she was called to devote her life to God and made a vow to be a nun. From there, she spent 15 years teaching in an all-girls school until she felt a call for something else. By the time she turned 36, she wanted to do something bigger and greater. That is where she started going out into the streets of India, helping to feed the poorest of the poor. Her mission was simple. She wanted to help those who were unloved, sick, and could not do for themselves. Now, of course, this was not easy. Many times, while trying to feed those who had no food, she went hungry herself. While working with the poor, she began a school and also got basic medical training to help those that were sick. Never giving up, Mother Teresa later formed an organization called the Missionaries of Charity. With her organization, other nuns from around the world joined her to help her complete her vision. Beginning with only 13 nuns doing work in the area of giving to the needy, her organization today has expanded to over 4,000 nuns working to help others. Her hard work did not go unrecognized. Mother Teresa received the Nobel Peace Prize. Mother Teresa died, but her legacy lives on through the works of her organization. One thing we can say is even with no money, love changed the lives of many, and Mother Teresa took those faithful steps to give and love to those who needed it the most.
"70 years ago, the leaders of the world came together to bring the right as human. So we are born free and equal as one being. Simply meaning we can't discriminate. We got to be that way, equality. My friend, you have the right to life. We must never read and torture. And my direction now, you got this human right. No matter where you go, 'cause we are all equal before the law, and it's protect our human rights. So sing along with me. I am defender, you are defender. We all defender of human rights. So sing along with me. I am defender, you are defender. Human rights for every